All right, so I got a quick video right here. So I want to talk about this, the incident where Masvidal went and punched Leon Edwards in the face 4 years ago. And this is obviously not a current story that really matters, but I figured out why Masvidal went after him. I feel like no one really ever knew the real reason. It was like, okay, I don't get it. Like, what happened? And I watched it, and I'm telling you, if you haven't watched it, when I show this to you, I think it's going to make perfect sense because I never really understood. You know, when you ask Masvidal, like, okay, so why'd you do it? He'd be like, he's talking during my interview or whatever. You know, you're kind of like, so you went and punched him in the face. And I'm telling you, I'm going to show you what happened. And you guys are going to be like, oh, it's actually, to me, it seems really obvious. So I'm going to show you that. Now, if you haven't subscribed to this new channel, go ahead and do that. Appreciate you guys. Incredible fights this weekend. I assume all of you guys watch my other channel, so you know I was there and I got to see Masvidal from so close. I mean, I fist bumped Masvidal right after his retirement, so it was an incredible night. But yeah. So anyway, I mean, so I did this video yesterday where I was showing all the like backstage incidents where people had gotten into fights, and so I watched that interview again for the first time in a long time, and I want to show you what I saw. But the first thing I want to show you is I want to show you Masvidal in an interview right now. Okay, so this is from this week, just to show you like how comfortable he looks, right? Just I mean, just like a minute of this, just feel how comfortable he is being interviewed, and it comes into play later.
With the distance, have really John down at that distance, so I would rank him dangerous in both the stand-up and the ground, but also at the same time a very fitting style for myself, you know.
Nice. Last thing for me, I mean, obviously there's a lot of talk about the welterweight title picture. I mean, are you letting yourself think about that at all, or do you have to be careful not to? Because obviously you have a great history with the champion. It would be a phenomenal matchup, but we kind of know which way Dana has mentioned. I mean, are you thinking about that whole scenario as you enter this fight week?
I never underestimate anybody that has 2 hands and 2 feet, but I don't stop thinking about also that after this fight, I'm going to England. I'm going to use that belt to beat it over Leon's head and then come back to this great country and defend that belt. So it's not something that...
Okay, so I just randomly picked this interview. I wasn't doing that to, like, believe me. I literally just pulled up Masvidal interview. I wasn't doing that to, like, you know, show him saying something that didn't come true. That wasn't my purpose at all. I just wanted to show you guys how confident he looks while being interviewed so that then I could show you the interview before he attacked Leon. And if you haven't watched it in a while, you're going to see it's like, dude, he was not as comfortable on camera or on microphones then, and Leon distracted him. That's what actually happened, is he was trying to stay on point. He's trying to do an interview. He just had a huge knockout, dude, coming back. And you know, dude, being on camera is super important. Like, that side of this game is so important. And so if you go in there, you know, and you sabotage a guy's moment while he's on microphone, that really is like that's a problem, dude. You know, and Masvidal had not, like, just because he's had so much practice in the last 4 years, you go back to that, he had never had attention like that. And so now I want to show you that, and then you tell me. I mean, like, it seems extraordinarily obvious to me that is exactly what happened. That, like, he distracted him because Masvidal's like nervous already, and then you can see he's like looking. You know, he's like looking at something, and then he like kind of loses his train of thought, and then he gets mad and he goes after him. So watch this.
Unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. You walked into that arena with a lot of boos. You walked out with silence. What does it feel like to silence the O2 Arena?
If anybody heard my interviews prior to this, I said I live for that, and that's to take the breath out of everybody, so you can hear pin drops. You can feel the electricity when you're coming in there, and it's amazing to silence people. It's a drug that most people
see right there. He's already distracted. Watch, he starts looking off camera and getting aggravated.
People haven't ever tasted. Man's tried to duplicate it, but they can't find the recipe for it. You know.
Right here.
So I'm glad I got the recipe.
Let's talk about that opening sequence.
Maybe not. If you hey, come over here.
See, watch now. Watch this again, and watch. He gets distracted.
What does it feel like?
It's not as smooth as it is now.
If anybody heard my interviews prior to this, I said I live for that, and that's to take the breath out of everybody, so you can hear pin drops. You can feel the electricity when you're coming in there, and it's amazing to silence people. It's a drug that most people haven't ever tasted.
Leon's breaking his balls behind the camera.
Find the recipe for it, you know. So I'm glad I got the recipe.
Let's talk about that opening sequence.
Maybe not. If you hey, come over here.
See, that's what was going on, dude. Is the interview process is not as easy for Masvidal then, and he got it, and he's trying to stay on point, and he's nervous, You know, I mean, like anybody would be. He's nervous, and Leon's right behind the microphone, and he's breaking his balls, and he's distracting him. And Masvidal's like, and so, you know, he kind of loses his train of thought, and he goes back to the, like, it's a drug you can't duplicate. And you can just see he's like, or at least I can see, he's distracted, and he's pissed off that this guy is fucking with him when he's trying to do his interview. And then when he walks off, he's like, you know what? That's meriting of me punching this guy in the face. And then he goes and does it. I can't show it because YouTube will demonetize the video. But you know, like, bottom line is, like, I know he said he was, like, I know he's said that like he was trying to do an interview or whatever, but I had never really actually watched. I just hadn't watched it in a long time, and I didn't. It's like seeing George kind of stumble through that interview compared to how incredible he is at them now. I was like, oh, all right. He just wasn't as comfortable then, and he felt like Leon fucked his interview up. So, anyway, it's not a big deal. 5-minute video. That's what I got. Love you guys. Peace.